And I'm not going to say that I'm still not an idiot. I think that idiot-like behavior isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I've truly been exploited. Like, you don't know how many times you've been an idiot and haven't been exploited, because you're only going to know about the times that you have been exploited. You could be exploited many, many times in your life for being an idiot, but we don't really live in a world where people exploit people like that. Most people are good. Not to say he isn't good again, but it puts me in a compromised position. I'm literally crying on the phone to this guy, thinking that I've got cancer, and I had to explain to him, I'm going into surgery tomorrow. He's in the car with his family. I can hear them all in the background, and I'm thinking, this is so bad. His whole family is embarrassed, and I literally have to tell them that I think I've got testicular cancer in front of his whole family. They also all speak English. So it's like, I'm truly being so vulnerable with this guy. I say, I'm getting surgery tomorrow, but something really bad is happening because I actually have to go to the UK to renew my visa, because I'm on a travel visa still, because I've been in the country for 3 months. So I actually need to leave, literally like a few days after I get my surgery. And I don't have enough money to do that. So I'm like literally begging on the phone, crying because I think I've got cancer, and say, I just need some money so I can get to the UK. He still owes me racks. He still owes me, I think, 10,000 at that point. But he gives me X amount, which is a tiny amount, but it got me to the UK. Quite often what the situation would be, as I said before, he pretty much just blocked me, turned his cell service off. Like, literally, I know he did this because I'd be on the phone.
Yo, what's up? I just need some money. Like, I'm staying in a hotel tonight.
And I'm trying to be as polite as possible, like trying to make it just casual, because I don't want to be saying,
I need you to pay me now, because I don't have enough money.
I would always try and say, like,
yeah, hey, I'm just staying at a hotel tonight. I actually don't have enough money. You probably haven't paid me in a few weeks, but I'm just asking, could you please just send some money across because you owe it to me?
I'd literally catch this guy. I can see on WhatsApp, you got 2 ticks to read a message, right? I'll send a message, 2 ticks, brilliant. And then, halfway through the call, it will just go reconnecting. As soon as I say something about money, it says reconnecting. And then I send a message, and it's 1 tick. That means he's turned his cell reception off, or his phone's died or something like that, right? But he was stationary. He's in a stationary position, he's on his phone, I give him a call. It's late at night usually as well, right? And if you've watched previous episodes, you'll know why, because I'm literally in the middle of a hotel trying to book the next night accommodation because I don't know where I'm sleeping. And I can see that he's obviously turned his cell reception off. He has to have. Either his phone died or his cell reception turned off. Now, if his phone died, his phone comes back in 5 minutes time, he gives me a call back. No. What happens is I see it go from 1 tick to 2 ticks 10 minutes later, which means that his phone's back on or his cell reception's back on, whatever one it is, but he's still not replying to my messages, which means he's purposely ignoring it. Welcome back to this episode of the SCULPTED podcast. Guys, today, it's one that you've probably not asked for because you know nothing about it, but it's a long story. It's not great. It's a great story because it's not good for me. You probably haven't heard many stories like this. Actually, I don't know, to be fair. Maybe there are many stories like this. But I'm leading it on. It's not I really just don't know how to explain it. All I can say is that it's interesting. I don't know where this is going to get me. I don't know if this is going to get any good. If anything, there's a lot of potential for this to go bad, if I'm being honest. This could actually come back to haunt me. But I've waited about 6 months to say anything about it. I could have said it a long time ago, but I held off for a few reasons. But those still, the same reason why I held off before is also still very valid today. I just kind of thought, it's been 6 months, nothing really can happen from it, that I think at least. But to get into it, guys, I used to work for a company of which I will not disclose, and I will not disclose any names, but I used to work for a company. I can say that it was a mobile application, and I was doing the graphic design and video editing for them and the social media. Now, I had agreed upon a monthly salary. Now, all credit to the guy who was my boss. He helped me. He was a really nice guy in terms of helping with football. I'd meet up with him relatively often and would have calls pretty regularly, if not a friend, you could even say. Now, I was really doing my best. He actually found me through LinkedIn. We originally had a meeting, and from there hit it off. I was like, you know what? You only need to pay me a very small amount at the beginning. I want to prove myself to you that I'm worth it. This was whilst I was in Germany, by the way, guys. So when I was living by myself in Germany, I'm like, I need a job. He hit me up. Brilliant. Awesome. I said, only pay me X amount of euros per month for the first 3 months. See if I'm worth it. And I'm like, I'm going to prove it to you. I did really well in those 3 months. Being honest, my quality of work was low, but dedication-wise and whatnot, for what I was getting paid, was pretty fair. Just in terms of the quality of the work, because it wasn't great. But I got much better. First 3 months in, whatnot, doing it. Okay. Next year, I'd signed an agreement which said that I would be paid a base salary per month for X amount of time. Now, I agreed upon that, but I didn't sign anything. I couldn't sign anything because I didn't realize that you had to sign anything. Now, a lot of people who will listen to this will call me an idiot. They'll call me dumb, ignorant, whatnot. I actually don't disagree with you. I'm 17 at this time. So I kind of was, and still to this day am. But it's also not a massive issue because there's so many different things where it just didn't make sense. But I shouldn't know that that doesn't make sense. You could say I was being used, and you could say that I was kind of exploited. And I think that that's kind of what it was at the end of the day. And it's kind of messed up that it happened to me at 17. But also, I don't hold any kind of resentment. I'll say it as a joke here and there, like I did in the episode with Liam the other day. But to be honest, I don't care about it that much. Now, I should care about it. And I do care about it to that little extent because it really has stuffed me over. And it's truly stuffed me over, actually. Like, I can't explain in all these different areas of which it's stuffed me over because it's too personal to even go in all these areas that stuffed me over. But, I mean, one reason why I had to come back to Australia was because of this. Literally because of this. One reason why I've transitioned to go into business full time rather than football is because of this, which is messed up to say. But I also don't really like dwelling on the past because that I can't control that. I've learned from it, and to be honest, I haven't learned too much from it. Like, I've got a lot of criticism from my family, from people who I've spoken to saying, hey guys, I don't want to interrupt this episode, but yeah, gotta do what I gotta do. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any to give any feedback even, just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's going to be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries. SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. So make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've always had great guests from the get-go. But we'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio. And the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guys. And I'll go back to the episode. I'll let you go. Well, it's a great lesson for you. And they're always trying to rationalize that, you know, I've lost $17,000, but I mean, I haven't lost it necessarily, but I'm owed $17,000. That's a bit of a interlude. But they say, what's the lesson you've learned? It's a good lesson. You'll never do it again. But no, that's actually, I don't really see the lesson. Now, I'm sure there's an overarching kind of theme that I can probably grasp from, but full transparency, I think right now from where I am, I didn't need to lose or I didn't need to be owed $17,000 to learn that lesson. The lesson, I trusted someone, they broke that trust, and I got done for it. Now, again, you've probably got no context to where this happens, but kind of giving a bit of a prelude is I really got stuffed up by this guy, and he was someone who I trusted. He actually got me he really did help me get to the club that I played for in Germany. SPVGG Bayreuth, the team that I literally played for in Germany, he had a massive help in me doing that. Again, therefore I can't criticize him because he really helped me make Germany work. But I can criticize him for the things that he didn't do to me, which was pay me on time. He never paid me on time. I was always working for him. I was always doing more than what was expected, but he never paid me on time, and he never paid me in full. Every few weeks, when I'd asked to be paid, he would pay me about half of it. And quite often, he wouldn't even pay me it at all. There were some points where I was literally, as I've said in a previous episode, I was literally not sure where I was going to sleep that night because I didn't have enough money. Now, I didn't give context to why I didn't have enough money, but that was my only job. That was my only source of income. I had savings, but I'm not going to go dig into my savings when it's in an Australian account and I need to sleep tonight, right? That's also locked away, right? I'm getting high interest and whatnot on those accounts, but I can't touch that. And it's also not much. Therefore, I'm not gonna get into that savings account, sorry. So I'm being stuffed over by this guy. I don't know where I'm gonna sleep some nights. He's not paying me. He's blocking my phone number, so I can't call him because he needs to pay me. He's paying me way behind schedule. He's not even paying me what we agreed upon. He's always promising the next thing. Quite often, he would actually use football as a kind of distraction. So I'd say, hey, please pay me. And I'd be very fair with it. I would give him a bit of leeway. But to be honest, and I had this advice from a lot of different people, stop working for him. But if I'm being transparent, I didn't want to stop working for him because it was a great job for me to keep playing football. And he did pay me. He paid me probably just under half of what he owes me. So there was a point of time where, I was getting okay pay, but I wasn't getting fully what I was earning in terms of what he owed me, right? So I was able to sustain myself with the amount of pay that he was giving me. I wasn't living well. Let's just say that. Ask Val what I was eating every single day. I was eating literally carrots and lentils. I couldn't spend more than 50 euros a week on shopping. My rent was around 475 euros a month. He was paying me around 500 a month, pretty much. I'm not going to disclose how much he owed me per month, but he was paying me around 500 euros a month. So it was enough to survive off from what my budget was. Granted, I was going a little bit into my savings, but it wasn't too much. So he kept on not paying me. People kept on telling me stop working for him. And I didn't. And that's because I was truly thinking that he can't actually just not pay me, can he? Like, he'll get in trouble for that. And he should get in trouble for that, right? So I'm just going to keep working for him because eventually he'll pay me. I didn't truly think that you could get away with not paying an employee. Little did I know, I wasn't actually an employee. Essentially, I was just a guy who was paying for work. He had no obligation to pay me. I thought that he did because I had this agreement with him, which seemed pretty professional. I'd even gone to the German jurisdiction for like getting a visa, and they'd seen the contract and everything. They'd said, okay, the contract, yeah, sure, you just don't earn enough to get your German working visa. So to me, it's being validated by the German government. They just said I'm not earning enough to get a working visa because you have to earn a ridiculous amount to essentially get a working visa in Germany. I was getting like a fifth of that. So of course I'm not going to qualify. So that, to me, I'm thinking, okay, the German government's literally seen this. Therefore, I can probably like get him in trouble if he doesn't pay me on time. So my whole kind of thoughts, okay, he's paying me on time. Sorry, he's paying me late. He's not paying me in full. It'll probably happen, right? It'll probably just happen. And I'm always betting on it. Now, again, I'm not going to stop working for him because finding another job is really difficult. Also, finding a job that's remote, finding a job that I'm good at whilst I'm trying to play professional football is too difficult for me to do. So I'm just leaning on the fact, okay, he's giving me my, bare minimum now, but when possible, he'll give me everything in full. And he would tease at that at some times. So I went to Italy. He gave me X amount up front to pay for the Italy trip, but he didn't give me my pay on top of that. So that whole month, he only gave me the money to go to Italy for and do all of the promotional stuff. I literally went to Italy and filmed all of these videos. I hired all this gear. I actually lost money by doing that trip. And he didn't even pay me for that trip in terms of profit, right? He only paid for the expenses. And again, I still lost out of that. This is literally, I didn't have to go to Italy either. I was like, for you to make this project work, you're going to have someone there to take all the videos and whatnot. So I literally proactively went to this guy and said, I actually will go to Italy for you. And this is such a bad time for me because this is in the middle of finding a club. I should have been finding a club. Now, to be fair, I thought I had found a club at that time for a few other reasons. an agent that I had stuffed up a contract. I was going to sign there. I was pretty happy to sign there. There was probably miscommunication between me and my agent, but essentially a deadline hit. I didn't sign that contract with that team. I would have signed there. I don't think he fully understood that. But regardless, I didn't find a team. I went to Italy. Maybe I could have found a team there. I got connected. I had a really good time in Italy. I loved it. And again, I'm just betting on the good faith that this guy will pay me, because I think he would. I trusted him. He drove me around in Germany. We met up and I went on many trials in Germany. And again, I'm not necessarily saying that he was doing bad things to me. I can't necessarily say he's a good or bad guy either, because there were good times that I had with him. We'd go to a cafe. He'd pay for a coffee, maybe, if I was lucky. And would have a good time together. He was a fun guy. Don't get me wrong, there were definitely red flags of character that I probably personally wouldn't agree with, but I think a lot of people probably would. But that's just because I'm very selective and I'm very, if I truly could have my way every time, I would. But had a lot of issues in the paying department, in the employee department, and that's really, really painful for me, because my parents aren't wealthy in terms of billionaires, right? They're not millionaires or whatever. I've got this nice setup. I've got all of this. Sure, my parents are well off in terms of Australian. Actually, no, not well off. I think it's just an average middle-class Australian, right? Now, granted, it's better than most of the world, but it's probably not enough to do and to them to fund me, because they weren't funding me. They'd send me money here and there. I would love it. I'd greatly appreciate it, but I wouldn't spend that money. That would actually go straight into my savings account. And that's still the situation today. All of the money that they gave me whilst I was in Germany, because they don't obviously give me money anymore, that's now what my savings account is made of. Because I was digging into my savings account when I was in Germany. Even though I didn't want to, I had to eventually. So my parents are paying me, a few $100s every month. Brilliant. Thank you, Mum and Dad. I appreciate it. You shouldn't do that. You don't have to do that. I don't actually like you doing it, but I'll put it into my savings account and I won't touch it. To me, that's reasonable. But from my understanding, this guy thought that my parents were loaded. I think that he heard a lot of different things, and this was kind of translated through a variety of different ways. He'd often say to me, let's go make this in Australia. Let's do this in Australia, because they've all got money. He'd also, my friend, who was American, who I literally helped his dad become a part of this company. And now that guy is doing well with that app, and he's a footballer himself, and he's American. And I think that my boss was saying, all Westerners are rich. All Westerners, their family are so wealthy. And this is kind of what the situation is with that guy's business partner now, who is my dad's friend. And I don't speak to that friend anymore because of my boss. And that was a good friend of mine. But now, because his dad's doing business with the boss, that's a fractured relationship. I can't rekindle that, because his vested interest is with his dad. He's not going to take my side, and that's completely fair. But he might not see how much that's stuffed my life over. Like, it's truly stuffed my life over. And I'm not going to let that stuff my life over, actually. But, it's made the trajectory of my life go in different areas. And I'm not mad at that, because I truly believe that that's what's meant for me. I don't get too fussed about, different directions of where I've been led, because I believe that's what God's path is for me. So I truly don't get messed up about that. But I think it's just wrong that someone is controlling my life that much. And again, I'm not pissed off at him. I'm not saying I understand it, but I could see why he's done it. But not to say it's okay. I'll never let that happen for myself. But it's put me in such a compromised position as well, because there were great people in that company who I was pretty close with. I'd even gone to London with them, and I met up with them in London. They went to Watford. I met up with them, literally, I think I was staying with Charlie maybe even, and we drove around Wembley together. We went to a top golf place. We were close. And then it eventually, right, it got to a point where it's ridiculous. He owes me thousands of dollars, and I'm saying over $10,000 at this point, and I'm accumulating. I'm sending invoices. I'm trying to be as polite as possible, because I'm thinking in my head, he's going to pay me, because he has to. The German government has seen my contract. It's legit. I've only ever had one job in my life where I've actually done something similar. I was working at a salad bar. It's called Soul Origin in Australia, and that was my only other job. I don't think I've even signed a contract for them to this day, but they were paying me on time. They were paying me in full. So I'm thinking, that's my only comparison. He's got to pay me. In fact, there's more security in the fact that he'll pay me than my previous job when I was younger. Because this has gone through the German government. They've seen it. They've seen that I've applied for a visa, but the only problem was that I wasn't earning enough. Now, I don't know if that's the truth, because also, my boss was actually helping me apply for my visa. He told me that I'm not earning enough. I don't know what they said because I couldn't speak German, and also they go through my boss anyways. So he could have been lying. I don't know if he was lying or not. He could have been telling the truth. It is true that I wasn't earning enough though. So even if the contract was invalid, I still wasn't earning enough. But to me, I only know that the contract was invalid. I only know that I wasn't earning enough. So he puts me in a compromised position. Maybe I'm being lied to, maybe I'm not. But again, I'm trusting him. We've driven from one big city to another in Germany together in the same car. He's taken me there and back just for a trial. Again, I don't not trust this guy. I gave a lot of trust to him. And also, to key it back to the whole lesson, the lesson should be not to trust anyone. But that's not what I think. I should trust everyone, like, almost blindly. Obviously, do my due diligence to make sure they're not a bad person. Like, I'm not going to hop in a stranger's car that I've just met on the side of the road, but I will hop in a stranger's car who I've spoken to over time and I've built a relationship with. Like, exactly what I did with him. It's risky, sure, but I'll deal with it. Turns out he didn't kidnap me, right? Had that trust. So he didn't kidnap me. Brilliant. That's the only real bad situation that happens there. So he didn't kidnap me. I can trust him. He's paid me before. I can trust him. He's building up this trust. Now, you could argue manipulating me. You could argue taking advantage of me. I'd say probably yes. Was I unaware of it? No. I was very aware of it. I just didn't have another way of doing it because my interest is vested in continuing that. Because I know that if I help his app, it helps me with football. I know that if he pays me, it helps me live in Germany longer, right? So there were always these promises of paying me on time. He'd always under-deliver. He'd never, ever actually, if he was to say something, it'd never happen. And of course, over a long period of time, you'd probably say, Nick, what about habit recognition? Why don't you just stop working for him? Again, I kind of had to keep working for him because it was the only way I could survive, because I wouldn't be able to financially support myself by myself without a job. And I wasn't going to be, I couldn't even get a job another way because I would have to go, well, firstly, the only way I could is if I got a job in Australia. Now, I probably wasn't even qualified to get a remote job from Australia. If I was to do graphic design, I wasn't even good enough for it. So, literally, he was basically my only chance of survival, because if I was to get a job at like the Macca's, I couldn't get a job there because I'm literally on a travel visa. So the only way I could do it is through a remote workplace. And I wouldn't be able to do that in Australia because no one wants my graphic design skills because they're horrible back then. Not to say that they're great now, but it means that my only real source of possible income would be coaching potentially. And I wasn't going to do that because that would take away from my football. I hate coaching or doing anything outside of like football. That's why the remote stuff really worked for me. And the club had offered me to do coaching, but I turned it down. Maybe I could have done it, but as well, the reason why I didn't is because I had that remote job. So it's such a complicated one. And I've spoken to so many people about it, and they've made me seem like an absolute right mug. Now, this isn't me trying to rationalize or, say how I'm not an idiot. To be fair, I kind of was an idiot. And I'm not going to say that I'm still not an idiot. I think that idiot-like behavior isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I've truly been exploited. Like, you don't know how many times you've been an idiot and haven't been exploited, because you're only going to know about the times that you have been exploited. You could be exploited many, many times in your life for being an idiot, but we don't really live in a world where people exploit people like that. Most people are good. Not to say he isn't good again, but it puts me in a compromised position, okay? Because I'm vulnerable. Anyone can exploit you when you're vulnerable. But I was in an extremely vulnerable place where he exploited me. And let's talk about the knock-on effect that it's had. Ever since I was living in Budapest, so after surgery, actually, that's even crazier. I call this guy crying, saying, I think I've got cancer. Think about that. I'm literally crying on the phone to this guy, thinking that I've got cancer. And I had to explain to him, I'm going into surgery tomorrow. He's in the car with his family. I could hear them all in the background. And I'm thinking, this is so bad. His whole family is embarrassed. And I literally have to tell them that I think I've got testicular cancer in front of his whole family. They also all speak English. So it's like, I'm truly being so vulnerable with this guy. I say, I'm getting surgery tomorrow, but something really bad is happening because I actually have to go to the UK to renew my visa because I'm on a travel visa still, because I've been in the country for 3 months. So I actually need to leave literally like a few days after I get my surgery. And I don't have enough money to do that. So I'm like literally begging on the phone, crying because I think I've got cancer, and say, I just need some money so I can get to the UK. He gives me enough money to get to the UK. Brilliant. He still owes me racks. He still owes me, I think, 10,000 at that point. But he gives me X amount, which is a tiny amount, but it got me to the UK. Thankfully, when I stayed in the UK, I didn't need to pay to be there. Like I stayed with my cousin, relatively cheap. It doesn't cost too much for me to go from Germany to the UK. It costs probably $300, $400. Brilliant. I only needed about that much, and that's about how much he gave me. I then, actually no, he gave me a bit more, to be fair. He did give me a bit more, sorry. But then I moved to Budapest. I basically don't hear from him. He doesn't pay me ever again. I rarely hear from him. I'm still working for him though. I'm still delivering. Because, again, right, this is just my attitude towards things. I'm going to over-deliver. I'm going to do more. Because if I can do that, then he truly does owe me it. Because why would I do less and then ask for what he owes me? To me, that doesn't make sense. He actually has less of a reason to pay me because I'm doing less, right? If I was doing more, then he has more of a reason to pay me. Now, again, you're thinking, oh, but he hasn't paid you in the past. You've got no trust in him. But I truly don't understand how he can't pay me legally, because I think that this is all legally done. From my understanding, it's actually illegal what he was doing. He's paying someone under the table, essentially, and I think they call it black money in Germany, Schwarzgeld or something like that. And to my understanding, I didn't know that's illegal. I mean, obviously, I think, like, in Australia, it happens all the time. Like, you'll literally have a job, and your boss will just pay you in cash. I thought that's completely fine. He said it wasn't actually, I can't remember what he said, but I'm pretty sure he just said that he's going to pay me under the table, what I explained to you there. But again, also, if you play in the 4th division in Germany, that's what happens to every single player. There's billions of dollars every single year that is illegally paid in the Regionalliga, the 4th division in Germany. So I'm thinking, well, literally, he can just pay me, right? Because that's what everyone else is doing. So you have to understand, yeah, there's a massive degree of ignorance, but there's a massive degree of faith in this guy that he's going to do the right thing. Now, you can argue, why'd you have that much faith in him? Well, I trust people. And I think that's how you should trust people. You should continue to trust people. Will people take advantage of you? Yes. But typically, if you trust more people with almost blindful faith, I would like to imagine, now I don't know if this is true, I don't know, maybe I'm an exception to the rule. I would say if I was to blindly trust 10 people and be in a better place for that, hopefully the one person who actually exploits me doesn't take me back to the beginning, okay? Hopefully, if I was to build 10 people and I'm this far ahead, hopefully that one only takes me back a bit. And I'll be okay with that. If I only lose a little bit of, ground because I've lost one person's trust or vice versa, and I'm back a little bit, I've still got those other people who've held me up, right? That's kind of my rationale behind that. And to be fair, this could be that exact situation, right? If let's say I've blindly trusted 2 people in my life and one of them's completely done me over, but the other one got me okay. But if we think about it in a, visual kind of perspective, I've taken 2 meters forwards with the 2 people that I've trusted, but I've taken 3 meters back now. So I'm at -1. Now, maybe if I trust a few other people, then I'll be back at, plus 17. That could be the situation. But then another one comes by and I'm at -2 from plus 17, so I'm at 15 now. But that's still better than I was at 0. So that's kind of my thinking behind it. Now, I don't know if that's how it works. I don't know if there's really true methodology to it. Maybe I'm just being exploited because I have this attitude. Maybe I'm just being exploited because people will see me speaking about this, right? You've got more reason to exploit me now because I'm making an episode about how vulnerable I am. But don't do that. Please don't do that. I want my $17,000 back. But yeah, it put me in such a bad position. I'm living in Budapest. Thankfully, Budapest is cheap as I literally spent probably only like under €1,000 when I was living in Budapest. Yes, I was eating into my savings, but it wasn't that much. Budapest was very cheap for a whole month's stay. You know what happened? I ended up coming back to Australia and I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to have so much money because I've barely spent anything. I've got my savings account and I'm owed $17,000. I'm thinking, let's go. I've got money. I'm not spending like I've got money though, just to be clear. I was always not, in fact, I've actually probably got the exact same amount of money in my savings account that when I left from Germany when I was 17. I probably got the same amount of money. And that pretty much stayed consistent throughout. So I don't spend my money. I'm actually very, very conservative with spending my money. If you know me close enough, you'll know that. Do I have Macca's money? No. Not that I eat Macca's, but do I have money to spend on this? Do I have money to spend on that? No. Do you want to know the last thing I bought? This black t-shirt. That's literally it. Cost $15. I do not spend my money at all. I asked Val. He will say I'm the cheapest guy ever. I literally ate carrots and lentils for about 5 months straight. I'm not kidding either. I am the cheapest guy you know. Now, that's also because of the financial constraint that I had on myself, but also I just relatively am pretty conservative with spending my money. And that's good, because imagine I go back to Australia, or even when I was this whole time, throughout this time, imagine if I was thinking, oh, I'm owed money, let's just spend all my money. Let's just, these new sneakers, I'll buy. That new iPad, I'll buy. All of these different things. Oh my gosh, I actually did that as well. Hold up. I did do that once, but that was so I can edit a video. My computer was really, really old, and I was like, okay, he's just paid me X amount. I'll go buy a new computer so I can edit the videos correctly. Guess what? Of course, he didn't pay me. I could edit the videos correctly, but I bought the wrong computer because I just needed it as quickly as possible. Bought the wrong computer. Guess what? Now I've got a MacBook Air. It's horrible. It sucks. And I just needed it straight away so I could edit more videos. This is just my attitude, right? Over deliver. Do it as quickly as possible. Give him the best of the situation, because he'll pay me back in the end, because he knows about how hard of a worker I am. He owes it to me. He can't get away with not paying me. He did. Again, ignorance. I'm an idiot. Sure, you can say that. You would have done the exact same thing in my shoes. Not to say that if you were the person listening right now, let's say your name's Liam. Let's say you're Liam and you do step by step, but you're Liam Miller. You're going to do the exact same thing. I'm not saying that. If you were Nicholas Kratochvil and you've lived every single life situation in my life to this day, you were born in the same genetics, the same body, everything is the exact same experiences, you would have done what I would have done. Now, it's a kind of complex subject to get your head around, because you may not understand what I mean, and it's probably not the best explanation, but you would be doing the exact same thing as me if you were Nicholas Kratochvil, because you know what your life experiences are. You know that you need to trust these people. This is what your beliefs are. It's difficult. Okay, I'm back in Australia. I'm not spending any money because I know that he's not paid me yet. I wasn't going to spend any money, like a large amount of money, until he's paid me, basically, because I'm like, well, I don't know yet. I'd rather lean on the side of caution than be, X amount of dollars in debt, or have X amount of dollars in my bank account that is so finite that I can't do anything. So I was very conservative with it. I don't naturally spend much money. I don't naturally do many things. So I'm like, okay, it's a sacrifice, but it's not a massive sacrifice for me. I'm pretty conservative, as I said. So long story short, around the December period, I keep on trying to message him. I keep on working for him. I kept on working for him up until December. So I'd worked for him for more than a year, and he'd paid me less than half of what he's owed me. So it really was annoying, because I wasn't hearing back from him. Quite often what the situation would be, as I said before, he pretty much just blocked me, turned his cell service off. Like, I know he did this, because I'd be on the phone, like, yo, what's up? I just need some money. Like, I'm staying in a hotel tonight, and I'm trying to be as polite as possible, like trying to make it just casual, because I don't want to be saying, I need you to pay me now, because I don't have enough money. I would always try and say, like, yeah, hey, I'm just staying at a hotel tonight. I actually don't have enough money. You probably haven't paid me in a few weeks, but I'm just asking, could you please just send some money across because you owe it to me? I'd literally catch this guy. I can see on WhatsApp, you got 2 ticks to read a message, right? I'll send a message, 2 ticks, brilliant. And then halfway through the call, it will just go reconnecting. As soon as I say something about money, it says reconnecting. And then I send a message, and it's 1 tick. That means he's turned his cell reception off, or his phone's died or something like that, right? But he was stationary. He's in a stationary position. He's on his phone. I give him a call. It's late at night usually as well, right? And if you've watched previous episodes, you'll know why. Because I'm literally in the middle of a hotel trying to book the next night accommodation because I don't know where I'm sleeping. And I can see that he's obviously turned his cell reception off. He has to have. Either his phone died or his cell reception turned off. Now, if his phone died, his phone comes back in 5 minutes' time, he give me a call back. No. What happens is I see it go from 1 tick to 2 ticks 10 minutes later, which means that his phone's back on or his cell reception's back on, whatever one it is, but he's still not replying to my messages. which means he's purposely ignoring it. Hey guys, I don't want to interrupt this episode, but yeah, gotta do what I gotta do. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any to give any feedback, even just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's gonna be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries. SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. So make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow, because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've always had great guests from the get-go, but we'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio, and the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guys. And I'll go back to the episode. I'll let you go. He would always stitch me up. So additionally, some other ways that he'd always try and string me on would be, he'd say, I've got a new football opportunity for you. So he'd always say, whenever I'd ask for money, he'd change the subject and go, oh, I've got a new trial for you. I realized that he'd use this quite often, but I couldn't do too much about it because I'm not going to say no to a good trial, right? So when it really was clear to me, it was when I had the surgery and I was asking for the money, and he'd be like, I'll help you with a football team. And I'm like, I can't play football at the moment. I'm literally recovering from a surgery. And then after that, he basically just gave up. Then I'd moved to Budapest, and then I'm in Australia, right? I really just hear nothing from him. As I said, I'm still working for him. I'm still doing social media. I'm checking in here and there, but regarding pay, I hear nothing. I had multiple phone calls, probably once a week at this point, saying, I need you to pay me by this date. I need you to pay me by this date. It kept on getting pushed back. It got to the point, as I said before, where I just had to stop. It's around the December period. And I just stopped working for him. And genuinely, my effort really didn't fluctuate during this period of time. It didn't really go up or down. I would say there's probably a gradual tone to going down. But I truly put in so much effort and got nothing in return. Well, I got half. But still, it's just unfair. And again, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying how it is. It actually is unfair. I'm not holding it against him as a character. Oh, no, I kind of am. But I'm not necessarily pissed off for it. I won't really say I'm pissed off for it. You can hear I'm kind of emotional about it. But I think that I'm not necessarily emotional about my situation. I'd be kind of pissed off if it was about someone else. Because I know it did happen to other people as well. And I got messages from other employees, even before I started working for him. He's like, one guy on LinkedIn messaged me, he's never going to pay you. He's never going to pay you. I'm trying to take him to court right now. And I was like, I could have given him the benefit of the doubt. He's paid me before. Yeah, it wasn't in full. Yeah, it wasn't on time. And I had these people who were telling me he's not going to pay me. I had so much faith in this guy. And again, there was also not just the faith. It was like, he's paying me enough to get by. I don't think he can actually get away with it. There's someone in court getting him in trouble. Bless. Okay, if that happens to me, I'll do the same thing if need be. But I don't think I'll ever get there. It's so wrong that it stuffs up so many things in my life, right? Because I'm not going to get a new job because I'm still working for this guy. I'm back in Australia. I'm not going to get a new job because I'm working for this guy. I don't need to get a new job because he's going to pay me $17,000 soon. There's so many things where it's such a difficult position that I shouldn't even have to worry about. And it really hasn't even taught me too much, right? Because the main thing is that I should trust people. Imagine if I trusted no one. Now, I'm not saying that I'm overly trustful I trust everyone, but when I speak with someone and I grow a relationship with them, I'm going to trust them almost blindly. As I said, yeah, they'll probably do me over 1 in 10, but I hope from the other 9, that helps me to be in a position better for it. So, compromised, yes. Pissed off, kind of. Yeah, I would say I was pissed off, but I'm not necessarily angry about it. There aren't many actions that I've really taken to, destroy or to get back. Like, I've just moved on. And I think that's the best way about it. I don't think about it too often. Yes, it's truly changed the trajectory of my life. Yes. Is it worth complaining $17,000 worth of? kind of to a degree, but I can't change that. I can't get that $17,000 back. I can't get him in trouble, because if I get him in trouble, I'm getting myself in trouble, because I didn't pay taxes in Germany. He even actually made me stay illegally in Germany, which is another thing that I found out. I was staying in Germany on my travel visa, as I said, but during the application process of applying for my visa, I overstayed my stay. I stayed for 6 months in total when I could only stay 3 months at a time. Now, I'm not too sure if this is true, if I was illegally doing it or if I wasn't, but I applied for my working visa at the time, and they said that I could have a 3-month extension. I was told that in person. I went to the Ausländerbehörde, or whatever it's called in Germany, where you go to get your visa and whatnot done. No, it's not the Ausländerbehörde, it's another one. But essentially, I went there. They said, okay, you can stay for another 3 months, but I don't know if that's actually valid or not, because my visa may have been rejected ages ago, but my boss told me, no, it's coming, but whatnot. It's just about the pay. And then I find out that it got rejected in the mail about 2 months later, after I've realized that I've been staying in the country illegally. I've been staying in the country illegally. Now, I don't know if it actually was, but from my understanding, I think I am. Now, then I'm thinking, oh, it's okay because I was applying for my visa. They told me it was okay. I don't truly know if it's okay or not. Long story short, I come in back to Germany after I got back from Australia halfway through the year, and it turned out fine. I was thinking, quite potentially, I could be coming back to Germany and get kicked out because I've overstayed. Now, I don't think that I did overstay, because I don't think I would have been allowed back in the country because of the stamps on my passport. They probably would have seen that I'd overstayed my visa. I don't know. Maybe I did. I did have a little piece of paper that apparently was invalid when I left Germany. They said, we're going to tear this up. Like, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Thankfully, I kept it. I think that they were meant to take it, but I think that I kept it. And then I took that with me, showing them in case when I entered Germany again, I've got this, which maybe isn't valid, but it at least shows that I've tried, I was thinking. So I've got that as a backup. From my understanding, I stayed in Germany illegally. I don't know if it's true. I hope it's not, because I'd love to re-enter Germany. So Germany, if the German government's watching, I love Germany. Germany is one of my favorite countries in the world, so I'm a German, Hello. That's German. I got the best German accent. Don't even call me like that. That was actually pronoun. I got a really good pronoun accent. I practice in my spare time, you could say. So irrelevant. But yeah, thinking about how I've used that now, what are the lessons? Again, I'm not really saying that there are many lessons from it. I don't think I needed to lose $17,000 to learn these lessons. The lesson to me is make sure that your employees are getting compensated fairly. That's one thing that I always try and be very transparent with my employees with the SCULPTED app. I always want to say that I want you to get the better deal, because I know that when you get the better deal, you'll work better. Now, there'll be exceptions to that. People take advantage of it, but if I've got the right person on board, if they're like me, they will work more for better pay. But I don't think I needed to lose $17,000 for that. Also, talking about the trust thing, I don't think I needed to lose $17,000 to realize, especially as an 18, 19-year-old, even 17-year-old. I started working for him when I was 17. I don't think I needed to lose $17,000 to learn that lesson, because truly I actually believe that I knew that lesson from the get-go. I just gave him the benefit of the doubt and the benefit of the situation, that it was sustainable enough for an X amount of period of time, but there was a breaking point. And essentially, I think that the dissociation from when I moved back to Australia and him being in Germany, I think he thinks that he can just get away with it. And to be fair, he did. So, honestly, I don't know where this video will take me. I don't know where the video will get me in terms of even with him. I haven't spoken to him. He sent me a message literally like a month ago saying, oh, I've got a new football opportunity for you. And I'm thinking, oh, you've got a football opportunity for me in Europe. Oh, that's interesting. How would you think I'm going to get back to Europe, out of curiosity? Would it be from the money that you owe me, or would it be from my savings account that I've literally tried not to touch, but you've forced me to touch, and I don't have much savings left because of you? And it's just so disrespectful. He said so many things that were disrespectful, but I had to kind of sweep under the rug. That's one of them. When he messages me literally like 2 months ago saying, oh, I've got a football opportunity for you in Europe. Are we still friends or something? I haven't spoken to you in X amount of months. You owe me $17,000, but you're going to send me a message. No. Additionally, one that just popped up to mind, and there's so many things that just pop into my mind, but he literally told me once, I asked him, can you pay me? And he's like, how about your parents give you a loan and I'll pay your parents back? So he said, the money that I owe you, just ask your parents to pay you that, and then I'll pay your parents back. Do you know how crazy that is? This is also what I mean by he thinks my parents are rich as and they can afford to pay me that. No, my parents can't afford me to pay me that. If they could pay me that, they would have given it to me. Why would they pay me to do the work for your company? And guess what? He wouldn't have paid my parents back anyways, because he didn't pay me back. So he's literally asking for my parents to pay me for his work. That's incorrect. Like, no matter from what angle you look at it, that's wrong. I don't think you can really convince me that that's right. And anyway, I don't think that anything that I've said here, you can convince me that he's a good guy. You've got merit by saying I'm an idiot. You've got merit to say that I trusted him too much. But again, I don't know a better situation of how I could have got out of it. The only way I could have got out of it if I stopped from day one. But again, I'm not going to do that. That's not my character. It's a testament to my character, if anything, that I kept on going for so long. I don't have to say that I'm the best character in the world, but I think that was more positive than negative, right? So, honestly, I don't know what I want from this episode. Maybe it's a cool story. Maybe it's something I can look back on. Maybe, this gets shared enough so that I can make money off of YouTube. That'd be great, guys. If you can get this to 1 million views, please do it. Then I can make some of that money back. Subscribe to the Sculpted podcast. There's more stories like this. Maybe not. Wink. If you didn't say that, because I'm not the best at winking. But, yeah. Maybe if you can, just share it around. I don't know. Help me monetize the Sculpted podcast. That'd be great. I'd like that. That'd be helpful. So, okay, let me just ask this from you guys. Share this. Comment. Tell me if I'm an idiot or not. What would you have done in this situation? I think I'm going to probably getting a lot of hate in this. I'm not going to lie. I'm okay with it. I've had it from multiple people who have also advised me from the get-go to not work for this guy. Hate's welcomed. It's not a bad thing. I don't, dislike it. It's kind of funny sometimes. But if you could, share this. I don't know who to. I don't know why you would. Maybe just if you want to help a friend. Help me. It'd be nice, Obviously, not to say that I lost $17,000, but I'm owed $17,000. Let's say I'd be in a much better place with the Sculpted app, with life, potentially even football. I probably would have continued playing football if it wasn't for this guy. Think about that. It would have been nice to have that $17,000, but again, I'm not gonna think about all the hypothetical situations of if I had that money, because I can't change that anymore. What I can change is what I've learned, which isn't much. Don't get me wrong, I didn't need to lose $17,000 for it, but I have to make myself better for it. I started the Sculpted app because of health reasons, and I thought, let's make an app because I've worked for an app before. I see what it's like. I don't know too much, but I know that the way that he's run his company, I can do it much better. If his app gets any success, I think I can do a better job than him. His pockets are pretty deep. I was told that when I went to Italy, when I was literally meeting up with some of his friends, they told me, this guy's pockets are deep. He's got money. They were saying, did he pay for your hotel? And I'm like, yeah, he did. And the guy who I was with in Italy, who was taking me around, who was just this guy's friend, he was like, don't worry, he's got money. If he didn't pay for your hotel, he's doing something wrong, because he should be paying for your hotel. His pockets are deep. And I'm thinking, sweet, okay, so he is going to pay me. Again, these are just so many things that are popping up in my head, guys. But share this video, like it. If it gets to him, cool. He's not going to do anything about it. So the only thing he can do is help me. Help me monetize the Sculpted podcast. Help me with the Sculpted app. If you had a story similar, I don't know, share it. Again, I don't really expect much out of this. I don't think there could be much that comes out of this. It's a good story. Don't get me wrong. It stuffed me up, but I don't think about it too often. I don't think I should think about it too often. I don't think I should really do too much about it. If you ask me to go get him in trouble with the court, just remember I can't, because I'm getting myself in trouble. I actually did put that on a Reddit post one time. I was like, what would you do in this situation? And they're like, you're an idiot. That's like the last time I'm ever going on Reddit. I got flamed. They were like personal attacks at me. I'm thinking, you've not got sympathy here. I was getting absolutely flamed in the Reddit comment sections, and got 3,000. No, I think I got 8,000 views in a day or something like that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting absolutely sauced here. And it wasn't unjust, but it's just one, that didn't have the full context of the story. And yeah, it's tis what tis. Tis what tis. Can't do much about it. As I said, I'm not pissed off. I'm a little bit annoyed at him, but I also just can't be. Because what's that going to get me? Being pissed off at someone who's never going to do anything for me, what's that going to get me? I just got to move on. Literally, 'tis what is. I can't do much about it. I tried what I could. I gave it my best for everything that I did. I tried the utmost. I tried to deliver above and beyond every single time. The initiative of me going to Italy, the initiative of me overworking, doing all these different things for him. He literally underpaid me at every single point he got. Like, I mean, like, even the monthly rate that I was on for the work that I was delivering would be laughed upon for the work that I was delivering. And he never even paid me it anyways. So, it's, guys, again, so many different thoughts that just come into my mind. But I can't believe that's my story, by the way. I just looked at something there and I was like, that's Nicholas Kratochvil's story. That's crazy. Well, when you think about the Nicholas Kratochvil documentary, that's going to be a bit of a... Maybe it's not, actually. Maybe we just skip over it. But Netflix, if you're out there, I don't know what you want to do with that part of the story. Maybe you've got some directors who want to, put that in. But when you are making the Nicholas Kratochvil documentary, that could be a big paradigm shift in there. Maybe it's going to, as I said, the Sculpted app was probably inspired by a bit of the work that I was doing there. So maybe if the Sculpted app becomes the bee's knees, Netflix, you got your hit story. And guess what? You don't even need to film it all because it's all here. It's already done. Just use the Sculpted podcast and make the Sculpted podcast grow. So guys, I'll catch you in the next episode. Make sure you share this. Help me out, honestly, because that'd be cool. Maybe I can get something back out of it. I don't know. Help me out. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Call me an idiot. Call me whatever you want because it's kind of true. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this one and I'll catch you on the next episode.